So this is the iPhone 11 and it launched back in 2019. And in this episode, I have the official iOS 18 on board and we're going to take a look at how it performs and everything you need to know so you can decide if you want to download iOS 18 for your iPhone 11. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Let's begin this test with a boot up in 3, 2, go and see which one could get there first. Now, we are using the iPhone 15 here because I want to see how it kind of compares to the iPhone 15. This is a way we're going to be able to see a little bit of how good the performance is because this is one of the newer iPhones here. This does have the older 4 gigabytes of RAM. This does have 6 gigs. And you could see this turns on first, but now it's been about 3 or 4 seconds and that one shut off. And here we go. The iPhone 11 is in. Remember though, this phone is about 4 years newer than the iPhone 11. So you would expect quite a bit faster to turn on. And that was the case here. All right, so let me go ahead and confirm to you that we are on the latest version of iOS 18. This is the official version 22A3354. We're also on that same version over here for the iPhone 15, so keep that in mind. Now we're just going to be using this as the phone to kind of showcase its performance, as this is a newer, better performing phone on the right. Let's go ahead and take a look first at the general home screens and stuff of this sort. Now I was already testing this yesterday and I gotta say I'm pleasantly surprised with how well the iPhone 11 still performs across the operating system and day-to-day. It actually doesn't feel hardly any different than the iPhone 15, especially just on the home screens. If we swipe over through all of these, you'll see it does very well in this, no lag whatsoever. Right over here, the control center looks just fine for the day-to-day. If we go ahead and add some icons here, let's go ahead and add some icons from the control center. And you're gonna see performs a little bit slower to load these than some of the newer ones. As you see, it's taking a little bit of time there to pop these up, but overall it's not horrible. Like, it's still a 60 hertz panel, just like the iPhone 15 and even the 16 that's coming to the channel tomorrow. But you can still see that generally on the home screen just fine. Even moving applications around, we don't have many issues here with this new customization feature. Also, resizing widgets seems to be pretty easy and not giving massive issues. You've seen it kind of flew in a weird corner over there. One thing I did notice about iOS 18 though is that even though Apple allows you to now move the icons wherever you want, they have this tendency to still want to fly into the right corner just like they always have, like this. They kind of still have this tendency to do that. So while they are opening it up, it doesn't feel quite like, you know, the competing Android devices where you can just kind of put them exactly wherever. You can do that here, but it tends to still want to kind of stay neat, if that makes sense. That's what I noticed about it so far. So let's look at the customization. So we'll go ahead and click edit over here and let's see how it does when changing between these. What I'm looking for is to see if we get any icon lag or icon slowness where it kind of like has an issue loading up the icons, and you've seen no massive problem. I actually think this looks pretty good. This wallpaper with this tint, not a bad look right there. Now, I kind of want to see, I don't know about you guys, but do you want to see like light mode tint? I would like to see like a light mode tint because it seems like it's just generally always in the dark mode here. But if I swipe through here, let's see if I change a different color, if we get any issues, no problems. So early on in the beta, the tinting was very off sometimes, but right now it looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and go back to customization and we'll tint this back to the main color. Let's go to automatic. How about the large icons? Let's see if we get any tweaks here. So you've seen a slight delay right there. See, that stuff takes a little bit of a second. That was happening much more frequently though early on in the beta. But you've seen right there, overall it can handle all these customizations pretty simply here on this software. So let me go and go back to light mode. We'll go to the small and let's go ahead and check that last customization, which would be this one right here, and then pretty good to go. So overall, you know, looking like you can run around and play with iOS 18 pretty nicely here for the iPhone 11, that's for sure. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the calculator here, see how this performs. 5 plus 3 plus 6 plus 9 plus 8 plus 7 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6. And you can see right there, how about minus 6 minus 3 plus 6 minus 9 divided by 5. There we go. You'll see the history right there. And then if we go over here, let's see if we get any problems with the math notes. And we should not. This is basic stuff here. Okay, continue. Let's do one right here. 5 markup, 5 markup. Okay. Markup, please. 5 times 5 equals 4 point. Well, that was wrong math. Let's try it again. 5 times 5 equals 25. Now that is correct math. It's very light. You probably can't see it over there. It's very, very light, but that worked pretty well. Again, the phone's starting to get even warmer as I continue to use it. It's getting a little bit uncomfortable, I have to be honest with you. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of the app performance here. So if we go through, that was a little bit slow. Not bad though. You can see running pretty good. What I'm gathering here so far from the iPhone 11 is that it looks like for general performance, we can still run this phone probably till next year if we needed to without any major issues. So let's scroll through here. You can see, I can see a little bit of a slowdown in loading. It takes a little bit longer than a newer iPhone, but it's not anything out of the ordinary. I don't think it's going to slow you down drastically whatsoever. That's taking a second because that's a new launch. You'll see right here, pretty good. And this is not a proper speed test. We're just kind of running through here just quickly just to see what we get. And overall, day to day, it's looking like these applications are going to launch okay. I will say that the iPhone 11, I don't know if it's mine. You got the game mode. This should improve the performance on the older iPhones. I'm not sure if it's just mine, but it definitely gets a lot hotter than it used to, especially in this area right here. Gets a lot warmer than I used to. I don't like that. Let me know if you're experiencing that same thing with your phone, the battery heating up a little bit or the phone just heating up in general. This phone never got this toasty before, so this is something I'm not a fan of with the iPhone 11. Let's go over here to Speed Test Net and see what kind of performance we get there. You can see that generally day to day, I don't think anything about this phone is going to like stop you from using iPhone. Like it's not, there's nothing really to speak of with that. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the RAM management. See if we get a reload here on anything. And we're only 4 gigs of RAM here. Little bit of a chop there. That was a slight reload on that one. Now we're reloading the Subway. Wait, do we even fully load the Subway? I think we loaded Temple Run, not the Subway Surfers. But yeah, oop, okay, there we go. Now we got some little chop right there. So little stuff, oh, here we go again. Oh, stuttered a little bit, you seen that? Now it's bogging down a bit. So definitely, yeah, and it is, man, is it toasty over here. Let me get my temperature gun and let's see where we are at on the temperature reading. Oof, yeah, I was not kidding, bro. Look at this, 111 degrees right here. This thing's over 110 right here where I told you it was warm, 110. So this thing is toasty right now. Definitely uncomfortable to hold. So if that's an issue for you, you might want to be using a case with iOS 18, unless it's just my phone. It could be my phone. Honestly, it could be. Let me know if your phone is giving you the same problem. Okay, so what we're going to do here is just open a few applications. Again, this is not a proper speed test. We're just going to see how much faster an iPhone 15 is. And you'll see the iPhone 15, definitely a snappier phone and much cooler to the touch, which is nice. Not cooler as in it's more trendy, cooler as in that it is a lighter phone. You'll see not much on Instagram third party. Let's go into Temple Run 2 and see if this jumps out ahead. Does jump out ahead. But the iPhone 15 doesn't have AI coming, so it's a newer phone without the Apple Intelligence, which is a little bit annoying. If we go over here, you'll see iPhone 15 was in a pretty substantial lead there. Let's go ahead and run another app. How about Geekbench? You'll see a little faster on the right. This also has more RAM and higher clock speed, over 1 gigahertz faster, so you would expect that. But you can see the iPhone 11 definitely showing its age here. A little bit slow, a little bit behind. So I think it's a good time to upgrade the 11. Even if you're not going all the way to a brand new 16, you're just going to go to something newer than the 16. I think it might be a good time to start thinking about upgrading the 11 even if you want more performance. This is not like a yesteryear phone. This is a phone that if you upgrade, you're going to see a big leap in performance from the iPhone 11. All right, so let's check some browsing here. Let's go take a look at the iPhone 16. We'll hit go. And you'll see not a big issue there on either. Let's hit learn more. And the iPhone 15 a little faster, little slower. Oh, the 15 got some lag as well. So you can see the 15 is not immune to some glitches. You seen right there. Where were we at? So you seen the 15 definitely wasn't immune to it. Let's go ahead and check. Now we're getting a problem with the website. Maybe people are ordering iPhones. Let's go ahead and check something else. That was a little slow to respond, very slow to respond there on the iPhone 11 to my taps. We'll hit go here. This one just went straight into it. But look how long this is taking to load on the iPhone 11 over here. A little bit slow. I know some people are going to get in the comments. I don't know what's up with this guy's iPhone 11. Mine's not like that. Well, maybe there is something up with mine, but I've been testing this phone for years and it just seemed to have gotten not quite as good on some of the newer softwares. That could be because of the older chipset and the low amount of RAM. It just doesn't seem as efficient as it used to be anymore in my experience. Okay, so I do want to do a scrolling test. We're going to go here and just kind of see what happens. Scrolling is going to be pretty similar. However, as you start going further down the feed, the 15 will load things slightly faster. Let's go ahead and take a look at X here on both and see how they scroll. iPhone 11 took that launch first. We'll go to my profile and we're going to scroll and scroll. So it doesn't seem like the iPhone 11 has any scroll issues. It just feels like once it starts bogging down a little bit, it starts to get a little bit choppy for that product. So here are the Geekbench scores that are produced on iOS 18. You can see 1687 for the left. And then over here we have 2472. And then you can see nearly doubling it on the multi-core score. So as we get into the more intensive stuff, the iPhone 15 really starts to pull ahead of the 11. It's not really a fair competition at all. I mean, this is not really a competition. We're trying to figure out how the iPhone 11 runs, and you could see it's pretty far behind compared to the newer stuff out there. So if you're just thinking about doing iOS 18 on the 11, you can run the stuff for sure, but it just gets a little warm. It gets a little bit bogged down under heavier usage. But daily using, it's still fine. It's functional. You just have to be a little patient sometimes. All right, last thing I want to take a look at here is the torch. We don't have that newer torch that allows us to change the angles of the flashlight. I don't even think the iPhone 15 has that. Let me see. Yeah, it does actually. The 15. It seems like the dynamic island phones have that, but it doesn't have this type of flashlight, which is pretty fun and cool to use. Definitely a new feature for some of the newer iPhones. But generally going through, control center a little slow here compared to some of the other ones. Let's take a look at camera before we wrap up this video. Shutter speed still good. I'm not sure. Yeah, it looks like even switching between the angles, sometimes it was a little slow on that initial launch of the camera. Switching between video modes, no major issues whatsoever. A little bit slow to switch between these camera modes as well. Seems like it was taking a second to think about that really quickly here. But definitely no massive issues. Let's go over here to photo. We'll go to portrait. Panoramic mode, and you'll see overall the camera is usable. Let me check the temperature once again after all of this. See what we're reading at. So 106, 107, a little bit less heat than earlier. But man, does this phone, it just stays warm. And you might be wondering, well, change your battery. That's what's happening to yours, Nick. No, actually, I've kept this battery pretty well maintained. You'll see over here if I go to battery health. Let's go to battery. 100% capacity. So don't give me that battery thing over here. So on the iPhone 11. So wrapping it up, in conclusion, the iPhone 11 is definitely a phone that I don't think runs iOS 18 very smoothly, very fast. It gets a little toasty. It definitely slows down under heavier use. But it also could be just the age of this phone too. The processor's getting older, less RAM. Apple's moving along with Apple Intelligence. I think it's time to consider an upgrade if it's in the budget. If it's not, should you download this software? I'd say you can go for it, but use a case if your phone tends to get warm. And also keep in mind that don't expect to do super heavy use without a couple of apps hanging here and there, because it's likely to happen on the iPhone 11. Other than that, it can run the basic software pretty much okay. Just don't expect anything insanely fast here. This phone just is past its prime. So that's about all I got to say about the 11. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the iPhone 16 content. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.